and welcome back to United by Rice. I'm Junko Goda, and I'm here with my co-host Ben Lee. Hey Ben,
Hey, Junko, how are you?
I'm good. Not bad. Not bad. How about you?
I'm well. It's busy time with the Emmys award season as we talked about in other
Yeah,
episodes. So I'm just trying to keep up. But the good thing for our podcast is we continue to have just fun guests. So it's really exciting.
yeah, and it's been kind of a surprise that we don't. People are coming to us once the word's gotten out that we have this podcast. It's we're like, at first we're like, oh, we're gonna have to put in all this work to reach out to people, and now we're like being a little bombarded. So we are trying to prioritize our Emmy nominated folks over the next 2 months or
Yeah, I
so,
think so. I think that's right.
something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully people will stop by and listen.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, besides that, I did get asked to be a jury member or judge for the Golden Trailer Awards. So that's
Oh,
my big news for the week.
what does that entail?
Kind of what you heard, not like trailers or hitches on cars or trucks, but really just kind of voting on best and I actually think worst too
Oh,
trailers, movie trailers, which is something that believe it or not, I love. I've always loved movie trailers. Apple TV or even iTunes used to have like a movie
oh
trailers
yeah, that's
section that I used to
right.
just spend hours on catching up on what
Yeah,
movies are
yeah.
coming out and there is an
Yeah.
art form to it, I think, right? Like the
It is. I
choice of
mean,
music
a
and
trailer
everything.
can make or break a movie pretty much these days. So yeah, it's a very crowded field. It's competitive to,
Yeah,
get butts back in theaters again.
exactly. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
kind of my big news. Any news for
nice.
you?
Nothing much. I did see over the news that Saving Face has been added to the Criterion collection. So that's really nice to see. I had brought that up during our interviews with the wedding banquet
Yes.
episode, and yeah, I just keep saying, saving face is just the gift that keeps giving.
Have you ever been in the little Criterion collection bus or whatever it is
Oh
they drive around?
no, I have not. Uh, No, the closest I've ever gotten is like a subscription to the Criterion channel, which is actually only like it's 9.99 a month for the Criterion
Oh wow.
channel,
Okay.
which is actually really, really
Yeah.
good. I
I
mean,
think that I mean,
it's film school right there.
right. Compare that to most of the other streaming networks at the same cost. I think that's
Yeah.
quite a bargain
Or
actually.
even I think Apple's about that same price. I'll confess Netflix has turned into my it's turned off now because it's gotten too expensive.
Uh-oh.
So it's one of those things I'll have to turn on when I need it.
Yeah.
Um, Meanwhile, I am still putting money down for the package. It's like the Hulu Disney HBO Max
Sure. Yeah.
package. That's $29.99. I'm keeping that one.
It is HBO Max again, by the way, not
Oh yeah,
Max
I
anymore.
know. I know. It sounds like everyone internally was grumbling that, yeah,
Yeah.
that was not a good idea to
Yeah,
begin
we're gonna
with.
drop the part of the name that has created all these wonderful shows and keep Max. No offense to Max, maybe a little bit of offense to Max, but
Yeah.
it's like Cinemax versus HBO. What do we remember as
Yeah. Well,
creating really good programming?
yeah, and also Max as a term is kind of too generic, whereas HBO is a brand. So that's a lot more specific. But
Yeah,
yeah, I'm glad that they
yeah.
brought it back. But yeah, so as a Union member, I get access to everything that's nominated when the SAG Awards come around. So I'm gonna kind of depend on that for my
Mm.
viewing later on. But yeah, not that much Netflix going on for me.
Speaking of that, so I assume, depending on when you canceled your subscription, have you seen the new season of Black Mirror?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
because
I do. Yeah, that was one thing I
okay, because
went
the very
through.
first episode's a little bit about this topic, right? Where obviously it's a much darker Black Mirror-y like episode,
Of
but
course.
Rashida Jones basically, in order to stay alive, right,
Right.
it ends up being um, having a life-saving whatever technology that allows her
Yeah.
to continue to live, but it's on a subscription model like Netflix, ironically on Netflix, right?
Yeah, on Netflix, yeah.
Where of course, every 6 months or so they decide to raise their fees
Yeah.
or add features that you only get if you're willing to pay more, and it ends up being a very heartbreaking episode.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. But, well, no massive heartbreak for me. I'll be a little bit
Mm.
heartbroken that it's not
Yeah,
in,
wait for the
but
next
oh well,
next
the
show
next
that you're
season.
interested in back
Yeah,
on. Maybe
exactly.
what about Stranger Things? Will that get you back on?
No, honestly, I saw the ads for the next season, which is this summer,
Hmm.
right? Yeah, I think Stranger Things could have ended after like season 3 or wait, because their new season is season 5.
I think
I'm getting
so. I
confused.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was a new season, and I thought they were going to be done after like, yeah, I thought season 4 and it was done because it's been kind of going on for a while, and I'll be honest, I'm definitely left behind with the story.
Hmm.
I have to catch up.
Well, I think that's everybody, right? That's one of the problems that I think Stranger Things has always had, whether it's the pandemic or not. It's like 6 episodes or so, and then it's like 7 years, it feels like, in between. And the kids have
Yeah,
gone
yeah.
from,
Right.
little middle
Cute
school
little things. Yeah.
or even grade school kids to they're probably all like in college now. It's just like
Yeah.
it changes, right? So I think it's hard to stay interesting in that one. What about Squid Game? Will that get you back? Squid Game
Oh,
season
shoot.
3?
Yeah, Squid Game will get me
There you
back.
go.
Or I'll go to a friend's place and watch it. I don't
All
know.
right, mid June, you gotta
Ah,
get back onto
okay.
Netflix.
Yeah, I
Um,
do.
well, our guest today
Yes.
is Jolene Purdy, who is a wonderful
Yes.
actress who's been on many shows. I think people, when they see her, at least in the interview, or
Huh?
have been watching her new show, The Bondsman, will certainly recognize her because she's had memorable appearances in
Yeah.
shows like The White
Yeah.
Lotus
So that
before.
one was a solo one, just with you. And where's the Bondsman on? Or where is it? Can it be found?
It's currently on Amazon Prime, which I will hit
Got it.
pause for a second. This might be an edit.
Yeah. So the Bondsman, where can it be seen right now?
It's on Amazon Prime right now, and unfortunately, I think in many ways, it hit the airwaves around the same time as White Lotus, Severance, and then some other shows that have been maybe surprise or breakout hits that didn't have previous versions, like The Pit, Adolescent. So I'm not sure how many people have seen it or if people are actively watching it, but when I watched the season, it's a blast. It's a Bloomhouse. I don't know if you like Bloomhouse stuff typically. I know we're going to talk about horror a little bit and our love or not love of horror, but it's not overly gory scary. It's really more dark comedy to me, and it stars Kevin Bacon as a bondsman, but he is killed, doesn't really know he's killed, and then gets recruited to do the work for the devil of capturing spirits within our world. And Jolene plays his handler in the show. So it's it's a blast of a character and just a really funny concept of a show, and obviously when you have people like Kevin Bacon, a very well acted show as well. So again, it's on Amazon for anybody that hasn't seen it.
Nice. So, I haven't caught up on the show yet or anything. Would you say it's I'm like, shoot, what was the really popular show, CW show with the two brothers who are exorcists? Why can't I think of it? Uh but
Oh
like just like the mood of it, is it like is it like Constantine, very dark with a lot of fire going on, or
no,
is it
yeah.
more like the CW? Shoot, why can't I think about it? Shoot, is it like the Winchester brothers? Right? It was. Okay, well, I'm just gonna have to Google this while I talk.
Okay. Well, I'll answer. I'll just describe more of it. It's like it's
Yeah.
no. I think it's definitely lighter. Like, again, I would call it more dark comedy than horror sci-fi, right? And
Okay.
through the first season at least, there's not there's not even a whole lot of variety, let's say, in the type of spirits that he's going after. They're just kind of have one look to them and they're scary. There's,
Okay.
I think it gets into darker moments because there's
Well, there's like,
religious
oh yeah.
theme to it, right?
Okay, okay. And oh,
You always see
Supernatural.
art. Yeah, yeah, supernatural. I knew you
I
were
was
going
like, why
somewhere with that.
can't I was like, why can't I think of it?
Yeah, so
So
I'd
are
say it's less
they?
supernatural,
Yeah,
more
less supernatural.
the devil, Satan, trying
Oh,
to
okay, okay, okay. So we're
capture
definitely
people.
like sticking to Catholic scary
That's
lore,
right. That's right.
that
That's right.
world. Yeah, because I think Supernatural ended up like traversing any type of religion, any type of spirits. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
Everything was game.
Yeah. I mean, I
Okay.
think the Bondsman, if you think about what Amazon's been doing a lot of lately in terms of their anchor shows, right? It's been, for better or worse, it's been like a familiar leading actor leading
Right.
a, you know, serious but not take itself too seriously
That's
show, right?
true. That's
Like
true.
Cross
Yeah, or
or
even the
Reacher.
boys. Yeah.
Yeah, The Boys. Even frankly, Jack Ryan, right? Like I think
Ah,
they all kind of follow that type of model, and I think Amazon's kind of found a sweet spot for
like
their
their own
audience with those type of
brand.
shows. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely these last 5 years, easily with the whole streaming race,
Hmm.
everyone's been trying to figure out what their brand is.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
I think
yeah,
they're kind of finding that those are the shows that people have gravitated to.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, so I didn't think I'd even get past the first episode after I watched it
Oh
because
yeah.
I'm not a big horror fan
Like, as in,
myself.
like you're too scared, or it's just like you're not that
Oh,
interested in the genre,
no,
or
I think it's more than I'm scared.
oh,
When
okay,
I was, I tell everyone this story. So, and some of this may not be actual memory. It may be,
okay,
it may be memories that I've created. I
yeah,
don't know for sure, but I generally recall growing up, my dad loving film, loving television.
uh huh,
So not too different than me, I guess. And I think it was a Friday night, Saturday night, but once a week, we would open up the couch, and at least my sister and I and my dad would watch a movie. But of course, we're talking, quite a while ago, and so the choice of movies, the selection of movies was nothing like today. And I'd say my dad wasn't all that concerned with PG-13 versus G versus R. So as a very young kid, I remember watching, and yes, I remember watching The Exorcist, Amityville Horror, Poltergeist when I was actually a little bit older, and then a variety of just scary films. And I want it to be fair. I think he also liked Western movies. I remember watching
oh
a lot of good
yeah,
old Western
yeah,
movies too. But
yeah,
it seemed like it was Western or horror, and
yeah.
it didn't matter if I was pulling the covers over my head or not. It was, probably in his mind made me more of a man to get through these movies. So I've always, I have to say, I've always been scared and frankly hated horror
Ah,
movies. Poltergeist, to this day, I'm afraid of clowns.
ah.
Um, I think of those type of images in my head. So,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah. My relationship with scary movies. I guess it's not that bad. I'm not a huge fan of Saw, like the gore
mhm.
genre. Not a big that's not something I'm attracted to. I haven't given it a chance. I'm not sure if I ever will. Maybe I will. But when I was how old was I? 24, I
Mhm.
think, was when the US version of The Grudge had come out.
Mm.
The Japanese original version of The Grudge I had watched by myself when my parents were out. Was it 4 years prior? I think by myself in the basement in the dark at night, and I had no problem. Fast forward to the US version, they had a bigger like reveal jump scare
Mm.
of like Sadako the ghost, and yeah, grown ass woman at 24. I left the lights on in my bedroom for at least 5 days.
I mean, that's nothing. Like 5 days, that's hardly trauma, Junko. I'm telling you, I slept with the covers over my
Yeah,
head
but you
for
were like 5
years.
then. I
I
was
know,
like
but
25 then.
okay. I'll give you a horror example. When I think was probably in my 20s too. Do you remember the show? It was a spin-off of the X-Files called Millennium. Do you at least remember that show? I
I didn't follow X-Files a whole
Okay.
lot. Yeah.
But Millennium was just probably a season at most. It didn't
Okay.
survive,
Yeah.
but it basically really, um, if I remember the theme correctly, it was really trying to play into Y2K, but as if the apocalypse was going to happen in the year 2000, hence why it was
Okay.
called Millennium. So a lot of religious, scary themes again, similar to our show, The Bondsman here that we're talking about.
Okay.
But I remember this one scene. See, I can so vividly remember it, where there's just this scary woman, in like a white dress, some type of ghost like
Right.
image at the top of a staircase, right before whoever the character was about to go up it. And I remember turning my TV off. You don't know where I live necessarily, but I live about 3-4 blocks away from a Safeway. Because I knew it was open 24 hours. I drove over there and just walked up and down the super bright alleys or aisles of Safeway because I was too scared to be at home at like 1 in the morning after I'd watched Millennium at home on my VCR. So, yeah,
Okay,
I think
that's fair.
I
That's
think I'm a chicken
fair.
shit. Basically, is what I'm saying. Um, but I will also say, and because I do a little bit more writing about awards, I did watch Demi Moore's movie The Substance last year, right? Which, of course, is classified as a horror movie. And I don't know. Yeah, to your point, there's different types of horror, and I can watch a movie like that. It's not the type that's going to give me nightmares, even though it's gory and some moments are scary. To me, the point of the movie wasn't just about scaring you, and I think therefore I liked it, and I won't necessarily shy away from
Yeah.
horror movies when they're presented to me as art, right,
Right,
going forward.
right. I mean, on the flip side, I think as a filmmaker, that is on my bucket list is to be in or help produce a horror film for
Hmm.
sure, a non-gore one. Um I might be in the initial talks of
Okay.
producing one, but we'll see where that conversation goes. But that's definitely on my bucket list. I think a horror film is actually really, really fun to shoot.
Hmm.
um, that I have not experienced yet, but I believe that it would be very, very fun.
Now, since we're talking about Jolene, I was also trying to think before interviewing her, um, what Asian Americans have been in horror films or TV shows, or even, since The Sinners has been highly acclaimed recently as a mostly black cast, plus Haley Steinfeld, um, movie, somewhat of a horror movie. Has there ever been, a big studio all Asian horror movie? And I was really having a hard time thinking of any answers to those
Yeah, I
questions.
mean, unless it's an import. Oh, although currently, Final Destination. What is it? What's the current installation? It's
Bloodline or
Bloodlines. Yeah,
something?
yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, well, it's not a all Asian cast, but Teo Briones
Hmm.
is in it. He's Filipino American. Isa Briones's brother, who's currently in the pit. John Briones's son, who John is a wonderful Broadway Broadway actor.
Yeah.
I'm like speaking of Asians in horror recently. Um, yeah, but not in like a horror version of Crazy Rich Asians level.
Yeah.
I don't. Oh wait, no. I was gonna say. Oh, I haven't. You know what? I did not watch Jason Tobin's Chink, which
Hmm.
is more of a murder horror, from what I understand. So I'm like maybe that one. But yeah, I would. Yeah, I would have to. like stuff coming out of mainland like Asia is great.
Yeah, for sure.
Always
Yeah.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and even like, I'm sure there's plenty of K dramas that I could find on Netflix right now
Yeah,
that
yeah.
you can't, that
Yeah.
would fall in the horror category. Well,
Yeah.
any listeners who want to email us any suggestions, or if you think
Yeah.
of um, a Asian actor that's been in an American or a global or big studio horror film, we'd love
Yeah.
to know and see it. So
Although
unitedbyrice at
off
gmail.com.
yeah. Although off the top of my head, as a new genre of horror being like digital
Mhm.
horror, I would say Searching, John Cho.
Oh, sure. Is that so? Actually, haven't seen it yet.
Oh,
Sorry,
yeah.
John. It doesn't. It's a horror movie. I thought it was more of like a, like a Black Mirror type of, technology,
Yeah.
scary future AI thing.
It's yeah. Searching was I mean, well, I think it's every parent's worst nightmare in a
Mhm.
movie. There was a follow up. No, the one you're actually thinking of is a different one that came out in the last year. Searching was actually pre COVID. Uh,
Okay.
but it is the first time we see more how like our smartphones are integrated into the storytelling.
Mm,
So that was what was really new about that. Yeah, if you get a chance, I would say like watch it, and it's yeah, I think it's still in the horror genre. It doesn't have to do with
okay.
monsters or spirits, but it's definitely like a real world horror.
Is it going to send me walking the Safeway in the middle of the night?
Not really, but
Okay.
like you being a father, it'll definitely probably freak you out, but oh well.
Well, good. That's much better. uh, okay. Well, I know, like, television wise, we've seen some good Asian characters. Stephen Yun
Yeah.
on Walking Dead, of course, is a classic character. But is there a okay? If we were to write an all Asian American horror film, what would be a good idea around that? Like, what
Oh
would
god, like family for sure.
yeah,
Probably,
like
you know what? No. If it's Asian, I'd be like Asian family with a dark secret because a lot of Asian families, for whatever reason, have secrets.
sure. Yeah. So we'd have to figure out what those dark secrets are that kind of manifests itself into
Yeah.
some
Yep.
scary, scary
You never
thing. Okay.
know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jolene Purdy, as we talked about
Yes.
stars with Kevin Bacon, have you ever calculated how many degrees of separation you are from
Oh,
Kevin Bacon?
that probably like I'm gonna guess like one or two.
One or two? Well, one, what is one officially? One would be you're probably in a film with Kevin Bacon. That's my guess.
What? Oh, what? I thought it would be like what would be
Oh, no,
like
you
we
might be
have
right.
mutual
Maybe you're right.
friend. Mutual friend would be one
Maybe.
degree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how the rules of the
Yeah.
6 degrees of separation of
Yeah.
Kevin Bacon work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, again, Jolene was a lovely guest. eh, one of the things I really appreciated when I talked to her was, despite the fact that she's mixed Asian, so maybe not every casting director knows she's
Mm.
even Asian when she auditions for a role. Once she got this role, she definitely used her influence to bring in Asian elements into
Uh,
it. There's
uh,
there's points in time in the show where she's making cookies, and instead of just using her fingers, she chooses to use chopsticks to place the
yeah,
decoration on
yeah.
cookies. There's just a lot of little subtle things that I think she did with the production that I
Yeah.
was really excited to hear about, and I think most people would not have known about. So again, we celebrate Jolene and her wonderful work on The Bondsman, and here is her interview. Well, Jolene, it's nice to meet you. It's been some back and forth on scheduling. I understand you might have had some travel.
I did. I have an 8-year old and she wanted to do all of the things and we did them.
Oh, good, good.
Yeah.
Anywhere fun? Did you go to Disney or anything?
Oh, we did it all. We went to the Roosevelt and had a little staycation. We went to
Ah,
Disney, we went to Dallas. We did a lot in one week.
First of all, congratulations on the Bondsman, and certainly the acclaim for the show and your performance has been really fabulous. Now, when I first saw the title, The Bondsman, I thought, oh, Kevin Bacon, he's maybe a bail bondsman. This is going to be fantastic. And then I watched first episode, and it was a little bit more than I thought it was going to be. Maybe you can help us and describe in your words what the show's about.
Yeah, he's a bit of a different kind of bondsman with a different kind of boss. So Kevin Bacon is a bail bondsman who is killed immediately and is brought back to life by the devil to hunt demons on Earth and send them back to where they belong in hell.
Yeah, it's
I'm his
compelling,
boss.
interesting. Now, do you, in your career, have you typically leaned into horror, or is this something that's a little newer for you? Something that like I don't know. Do you watch a lot of horror films or horror shows yourself?
So I'm a big musical theater nerd, which is like happy, happy, joy, joy. But there's something to the polar opposite that is very exciting for me. I grew up and I saw It, the Stephen King
Sure.
movie.
Yep.
Way too young. I don't know who was watching me, but way too young watching that. And I did the
Yep.
CBS Under the Dome show, which is Stephen's book. And I met him and I thanked him for scaring me to death as a
Right.
child. So that's kind of where then I was like, ooh, let's not watch these scary things because they're terrifying. But I jumped back into it a few years ago. I would say, like in 2020, I told my reps that I wanted to do something for my heart, a horror movie and a Christmas movie. And so they jumped on it. I did a heart project, which is Empire Waste. And then I did a Blumhouse called Unseen, which was my like
Mhm.
horror thing. I didn't realize I'd have another Blumhouse and be in this wonderful world of just grounding the supernatural in like humor, I guess.
Sure. Yeah. And we'll talk more about the show. I think most good shows these days are what genre bending, right? So it's not just horror for sure. And maybe we can even talk about your character. So Midge is, we get introduced to her very quickly, and she's razor sharp. She's this mysterious force. But it's really episode 5 that
Mhm.
that your character really gets cracked open, and we learn so much about your backstory. How did you approach the emotional layering of that reveal and of that episode? That episode really is all about Midge.
It is, yeah. When I auditioned for it, I had that backstory episode, so I knew the catalyst for her as far as why she was good at her job and how she got her job. So that was kind of nice to have as an actor. But approaching episode 5, I am a mother, and
Mhm.
so I do understand the lengths that you would go to for your children. I also know the joy and not tiredness I had in my youth to kind of do the cooking and all of that for that. I have been very, very blessed that my daughter has been healthy. And I know that a lot of people have had some, hard times with their children, and I can't imagine. And so for me, it's, I don't want to say fun putting myself in that dark world, but to imagine and put myself in another person's place just brings me joy. And so sitting in that and getting to feel everything that might come along with that is terrifying as a parent, but as an actor, so gratifying, to live in another world. So I worked with our director a lot about just where we were gonna have her breaking point, where she's lost hope, where she still has hope, what those levels look like. There was a scene that unfortunately didn't make it. I loved it. It was with her dad, where
Mm.
she's like, there's still hope. And she's chasing this thing. And he's like, sometimes you just gotta let it go. And my character fought back with a vengeance. And that's, I think, who she is. Like she's a fighter.
Yeah. And my recollection of the episode is the deal wasn't necessarily presented to you with a ton of clarity, right? But I think you said it as a parent. If someone were to very clearly say, hey, here's the deal, we save your child, but you've got to work for the devil, I still think most parents would probably say yes to that. So,
I would do it. Yeah.
yeah. So very human. Um, you talked about it earlier, even the laughs that come with the show. Um, did you process the shift between like your comedic moments early on and then emotionally raw seeds in episode 5? And how did you prepare differently for that pivot? And I don't know what sequence the episodes were necessarily shot, but it's
Yeah.
definitely, a switch that you have to turn on.
For sure. Episode 5 took a lot of like focusing in on making sure that I was hitting the right places, more in a serious, dramatic tone. Whereas, like, when I read the first 2 episodes and we shot the first 2 episodes, I found like the comedy of let me pick up a mug and take a sip here because that's kind of funny, and they
Mhm.
gave me the freedom to play and to make the expository dialogue engaging and a little tongue in cheek, because we need to know the rules, but let's make it fun. And I love doing that. Um, yeah, I think the writing lent towards the comedy, and I think they're trusting me with the character and allowing me to sprinkle it in here and there, which I will always do. I'm that actor that will run away and make something funny that's not supposed to be funny. And, people sometimes have to rein me in on that, which is great because I need it. But yeah, the dynamic shifts within her character as she goes through. This is why I love TV, is you get to live with this character and the writers throw things at you and you have to make it make sense as to why she is reacting the way that she is reacting, knowing what you shot previously, but you don't know what is to come.
Hmm, hmm. For sure. And your character is literally the devil's rep on Earth. Did references or any real world inspirations, or was this just a completely internal world building for you?
I when I looked at it, they wanted someone sharp and strong to play this character. But
Hmm.
I thought, and again, for humor purposes, if I made her charming and likable and unsuspecting and
Hmm.
just trying to do her job. Manipulation is a tactic of the devil. And so she utilizes charm as her manipulation. And I found that funny and interesting and a different choice. And I'm so glad that they like agreed with me because it was a little bit of a chance that I took.
Hmm.
And yeah,
Now,
did that answer your question?
yeah, no, for sure. Now, I don't know if it was the showrunners or the casting director that found you, but was this an open audition, or how did you end up in this role?
So I had done a Blumhouse project previously, and so
Oh,
was
that's
the
right, unseen. Yep.
casting directors. And
Okay.
so they were so kind. Everyone's doing self tapes, but they were so kind to bring me in because I was like, kind of have an idea. And so we went in, and most auditions, they're like, "Do you have any questions?" And it's like the actor's like terrified. I have so many
Hmm.
questions, but I don't want to say that I do. And so you kind of just throw it out there. And I always say, "Let me just throw it out there, and then you tell me how to make it better," which is what they do. And so I said, I have this really weird twist that I'd like to try. And they were game to play. And I love playing. So I did it the way that it is in the show. And they went, huh, that works. Now, can you try it as it's written? And I was like, sure, great. I can totally do it that way. So I did it that way. And they were like, huh, that works too. Can we do the next 2 scenes both ways? And I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, sure. So it was a collaborative process with casting to
Hmm.
get me to the point of seeing Eric Olson, our showrunner, and Kevin Bacon, our lead and producer, to do a chemistry read to see how it played with him.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's it sounds like even in the auditioning process, so to speak, you were already improving upon the material, and it made it easy for them to bring you onto the project. You talked about the sharpness of the writing, but there's also a lot outside of the dialogue, right? A lot through silence, through gestures, through body language. Were these deliberate choices by the directors and the writers, or these things that again you worked on specifically, you brought into the scenes to build that tension?
I my process is to memorize and do the work and then let it all go and live in the moment and whatever
Mhm.
comes comes, forgetting I don't pre-plan anything unless it's like specifically said. And so There was not a lot of pre-planning. I know there's like this finger thing that I do, and I
Mhm.
don't think that was just in the moment. That's what I did,
Mm.
and it's so funny to see them use that as such a tool. Our editors are geniuses, taking that little piece. Drinking the coffee again at certain times to punctuate humor was a choice. There's also in the script, it was written that she uses tweezers to place the flowers onto the cookies. And I went to our showrunner after doing it like a practice baking session, and I said, in my house, we have a cup with a bunch of chopsticks in it, just like on the table. Like she would use chopsticks. She wouldn't use tweezers to put
Mhm.
the flowers onto the cookies. It's authentic to me, and I'm Asian, so can we do that? And he said, absolutely, I love it. So there are certain things that you get to change and manipulate when you have a collaborative team that trusts their actors and writers and vice versa.
Yeah, and I had read that piece about you. It was you that had asked about using the chopsticks instead. Um, I think also I read that you wanted the character's last name to be Japanese to really bring in. So can you talk to me about not just this project, but in other projects that you've had, how important it's been for you to bring in your cultural identity and your ability, um, the effectiveness of being able to actually do that, right? Because if I look at you, I think probably most people would say, maybe there's some Asian in there, but that's not automatic, right? So you
Right.
probably do have to volunteer it and ask for it.
Yeah, it's so funny. I've been doing this for a little bit of time. And when I was younger doing this, it was like, hush, hush, don't say what you are.
Hmm.
Keep your name as is because my last name, Jolene Purdy, was very white passing. So let's
Hmm.
just not talk about it. But inevitably, I would get auditions for Asian roles because authentically I am. And I would never look like the Asian people at the auditions because I'm not full. And it was so hard to kind of find my place. And it wasn't until I was like in my 20s, early 20s, there was an actor that I was working with, and he said, don't fit their box. You are your own box.
Hmm.
And that's when I ran with it. I would go in for auditions with like 5, 10 blonde models and me sitting in the waiting room. And I'm like, I'm going to stand out one way or the other. And I'm the ethnic choice. I'm the different choice. I'm the out of the box. I am my own box. Um, and I think as I've gotten older, I've realized people don't get to dictate to me what my ethnicity is, and I don't have to manipulate it to make people comfortable. I may not be Japanese enough for people, but I am Japanese and I don't need
Hmm.
to prove it. And so when I can authentically put things in that I would do as an Asian American, I really, really want to bring that just for awareness. I run a multicultural thing at my daughter's school just to make sure that everyone is embracing and exposed to different cultures. So why not do that in my work as well?
Yeah, no, and it's amazing. It's great. It's important. Do you find, so in today's environment, there's more roles, thankfully, you talked about how times have changed a little bit, and there are more roles for Asian actors. So it's interesting in your position now. Um, you described like the audition room with all the blonde, women. What about the opposite when casting directors are looking for Asian actors? Do you feel this as a disadvantage now?
It's so funny. I think my primary focus is more diversifying white roles. And so going in for a specifically Asian role, I know I'm probably not going to fit that, but I don't feel like I'm faking anything and it is authentic and I will be the out of the box choice. Just like if I go in for an all white role, like I will be the out of the
Hmm.
box choice. But if I can shift a role that's like not necessarily written Asian, that's where I find that I'm moving the needle, giving more opportunity to my culture.
Yeah, no, that's great, and it's a wonderful approach. Do you know anything about the Bondsman in terms of whether there's a season 2 or 3 yet?
Um, I wish I could tell you that answer, but I myself am on pins and needles
Yeah.
waiting for a phone call.
Sounds like you would happily pick up that phone if renewal came.
Absolutely. I mean, how much fun did we have making a movie about demons being split in half by chainsaws, like
Right.
singing country songs?
Yeah.
It was incredible.
Amazing. Now, did you ever calculate in the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon how many degrees away you were prior to this show?
I feel like IMDb does that for you, I think.
Do
I
they?
think there was something that I feel like on IMDb I saw like years and years and years ago. So I had worked with Noah Wiley on Donnie Darko, and
Uh-huh.
Noah Wiley worked with Kevin on something. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't
I
remember
think
that show either.
so. It was still,
Yeah,
I was shocked because I was like 2 or 3 degrees, and I was like, how am I 2 or 3? And this was like a decade ago. How am
yeah.
I 2 or 3 degrees from Kevin Bacon? That's insane.
You had three projects that you asked for, kind of that heart project, the horror. Has the Christmas one happened yet?
The Christmas one hasn't happened for my musical theater nerd heart. My Christmas joy filled magic hasn't happened yet, but I still have hope.
Do you have a type of Christmas project? Is it the Hallmark special or is it something different?
Oh, I don't know. I think they've sent me, I've gone in for a couple of auditions. I love the idea of playing Mrs. Claus. Like, even if I have to wait a decade or so, I want to play Mrs. Claus at some point.
That'd be
Yeah.
fun. And we see sometimes younger Santas and Mrs. Clauses, right? So it's definitely doable. And if you had to or got to restart that list or reset that list now that you've knocked two off of that list, give me your ask for your agents now, your three wish projects. Christmas is one.
Christmas is still one. I really want to do a musical. Growing up doing musical theater,
Sure.
I kind of am terrified. I love doing things that I'm scared of. I think it grows and challenges you and it's exciting. So I would love to do a musical, whether it's, on stage or on camera. I would
Mhm.
love to sing again. Um, and I really would love to do a multi-camera sitcom.
Oh, very fun.
I know, right?
Yeah, we need more. Well, going back to your character on the show and kind of wrapping up there, do you feel like this is the first role that's fully let you stretch across you mentioned yourself earlier as you can't help but bring the funny. So is this the first role that's really let you kind of stretch that muscle and the emotional depth all at once?
100%. It is the most developed character that I have been allowed to play, with the most freedom to explore it. And, you know, a lot of times how I go into a project is I see who I'm playing against and I see what kind of dynamic would be engaging for an audience with that other actor. This one, again, like looking at Kevin and who I know he is to play, trying to create that same thing. But again, this character is kind of a standalone as well, and she gets to have her own essence. I get to not always have to bend to the other people in the scene with me, and it's powerful, and I don't take it for granted. And I have appreciated the experience so much,
Yeah.
of this dynamic of a role.
Yeah, it's fun to be in kind of that breakout moment space right now, right? So
Yeah.
congratulations. Because we are, well, I got to point the right way, United by Rice is one of our outlets and also podcasts that we're doing. A question that I'm asking everybody. So after a long trip, long shoot, long press day, what is your go-to rice dish?
Nice dish. Oh, I'm kind of embarrassed to say it.
There's no bad answers.
Okay, is mochi?
Oh yeah, that's certainly a rice dish. Yes.
Yeah, okay, but here's the thing, like, and this is just a nostalgia from being younger, and I don't know why we did this. We would take the mochi and put it in the microwave and watch it blow up,
I've never tried that. So,
and just to get it like gooey and like big enough, and then it would deflate, and you would put shoyu on it, and like to me,
interesting.
that like, there's like a comfort and nostalgia, and yeah, for me, that's I think.
And you're talking, so for folks that are listening, there's mochi that I think is more common, which is like the round balls with ice cream in the middle that you'll get as dessert. The mochi you're describing is probably more of like that pancake shaped cake mochi
Yeah,
that you
it's
used
like
to stick in
what's
the microwave.
yeah, it's like what's on the outside of the ice cream is
Right,
actual mochi. And so if you take the ice cream out and you just make it look like that without the ice cream in the middle, that's the mochi. And
yeah,
it's not the sweet kind, it's just the
right.
plain get in a bag at the Japanese grocery store kind, you know?
Yeah. Fascinating. Stick it in the microwave, let it explode, and it'll show you. I'm sure some folks are going to try it now. So,
My goodness.
well, it was super nice to meet you, Jolene. And again, congrats on the success. And I can't wait to see what you do next. And I hope it's a Christmas musical.
Yeah, it would be amazing. Two in one, that would be great.
Yeah. I'm sure someone's writing them right now. So, nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you.
Bye bye.
Bye.